The Louisiana Business Emergency Operations Center, or LABEOC, supports disaster management in Louisiana by developing an accurate understanding of economic impacts to critical infrastructures and major economic drivers, as well as coordinating the response and recovery efforts of the private sector with government or the public sector. Through the LABEOC, the state of Louisiana is improving disaster preparedness and response, reducing its reliance on federal disaster assistance, maximizing business, industry, and economic stabilization, and returning the business environment to normal operations quickly after a disaster.
The importance of the BEOC concept is not the physical facility, but the relationships and partnerships between government and the private sector.
When you realize 80% of the resources come from the private sector and the need to get businesses back so communities can come back quickly, this was the impetus for the development of the Louisiana Business EOC.
Disasters have a significant impact on small businesses. The intent of the BEOC is to provide situational awareness and information to Louisiana business community, including large and small businesses. Information distributed or collected through the BEOC is intended to provide the business community of Louisiana with information necessary to make informed decisions that impact the business and their employees. The BEOC does not replace the relationships between business owners and local government. However, the BEOC supports the exchange of information between the business community and all levels of government, local, state, and federal.
And the mission of all of these fine folks coming together is for us as a state to be better prepared for disasters. And we all know that regardless of where you live, disasters do end up happening, and we are prone to all kinds of disasters across the nation. But here in Louisiana, when indeed a disaster does happen, you have a better chance as a business to be viable during a disaster and to be a partner in the state's ability to manage a disaster, because our focus here and our mission of the Business Emergency Operations Center is to truly create those public-private partnerships and utilize those public-private partnerships to help recover the economy of the state and to normalize the economic operations of the state just as quickly as is possible immediately following a disaster.
The BEOC's mission is to support and improve disaster management for the business community during an emergency event, whether it's natural or man-made. And they do that by providing timely status updates, getting resources where and when and if they're needed, helping with recovery, and also helping getting businesses back up into the business of business, really kind of economic stabilization activities.
We want the business community more involved in the BEOC because we're here to provide a service to one another. The idea is to form a collaboration point for businesses, and this is built on our experience of many disasters over the years. As you know, Louisiana continues to be recognized as a disaster-prone state, if not the most disaster-prone state. So we've had a lot of opportunity to exercise this collaboration and find out where we can be more effective. And one of the ways that we've concentrated on is in the collaboration between the private sector and the public sector. We rely on each other, frankly, is the bottom line here. Most of the critical infrastructure that government relies on every day is mostly owned by the private sector. The private sector, though, needs the other part of that critical infrastructure, such as highways, for their commerce and the reliance of their business. So it's a necessary collaboration point, and it's also the benefactor ends up being everyone, including the general public. So what we're trying to do is have a place where business and government and the private sector can all collaborate, exchange information, report on their operations, and draw down on the services of the sectors more efficiently by having everyone on a common operating platform, both inside this room and also using technology to exchange information. It's a place where we can draw information up, understand it, and then push information, services, and assistance back down the pipe.
Well, the BEOC has been fully activated virtually a few times, but not yet really a full activation. I think everyone realizes that's a matter of when, not if. And when we do have that full activation comes, I think from the business community's perspective, we're going to have vastly improved communications, really good coordination between both the public and the private sectors.
The BEOC supports Louisiana Economic Development and GOSEP's Disaster Recovery Division to identify the impacts of a disaster on Louisiana businesses.
Public-private partnerships are indeed here to stay in a big way in how, as a nation, we respond to disasters. In Louisiana, the way we ask our business partners to engage with the public sector in managing disasters is by registering with the website that has been specifically created for the purpose of supporting public-private partnerships in Louisiana, which is at the website called www.labeoc.org. That's a website that we ask businesses to go register with, because that's the place when they register, they're able to first of all provide point of contact information for who is the phone call going to on the private sector side when there is a need from the public sector for a product or for an expertise or for service that the private sector can uniquely bring to the table in helping the public sector manage the disaster.
The BEOC serves as a conduit of information between Louisiana's emergency management community and the private sector. Through the BEOC, stakeholders are able to access information and situational awareness to make informed business decisions during a disaster event.
The thing that's most effective for the financial institution from the BEOC is that situational awareness. They just so they know what to anticipate, what to expect, what's coming down the pike, what has already been done. Then there's not that redundancy of asking the same questions, taking up people's time with the same issues. They already know it and they already see it.
What was an experiment back then has now become part of our process, not only in Louisiana, but we are proud to say is becoming a model nationally.
It's a dynamic process, and that all of these pieces come together and it makes sense.
We have not had to have a full activation yet, but that's one of the strengths of the BEOC. It's a scalable architecture. We can respond to lesser threats, and we can design to respond to greater threats. And so we're ready. The facility's ready, the teams are ready, the operating procedures are ready.
It's not just talk, it's not just rhetoric. I mean, it's actually turned into something tangible and substantial.
The LABEOC was established in 2009 through an innovative partnership among LED, GOSEP, the National Incident Management Systems and Advanced Technologies Institute at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, and LSU's Stevenson Disaster Management Institute. The LABEOC has been recognized by FEMA as a best practice model for public-private partnerships.